Hey there, Mrs. Traver here. Today is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020, and we are in day 2 of school. So here's what you'll see for most videos to get us started. It is the open slide, and we've got our day at the top, and then our learning target and success criteria. So let's talk about those. Today's learning target is that you're going to review your algebra skills from last year. You'll know you're successful when you can simplify expressions and understand the relationship between a table and an equation. Today our game plan is we're going to take some notes on order of operations, combining like terms, and connecting tables and graphs. And then you'll be able to log into your textbook today and do your assignment for the homework. I would like you to make sure that you've done yesterday's assignment as well. Double check that you've done that. You've got to submit it in that form. So for that assignment, here's yesterday's What Do You Know? Review from algebra. We had those 10 questions. I want to show you the answers real quick. So go ahead and pause your screen here. Check your answers. If you have questions on how to do any of these problems, you need to visit the Zoom session so you can ask those and we can go through them. So let's check out what we've got today for notes. I'm going to go through slides here and then you take the notes on your own. Alright, our first bit is on order of operations. You've seen PEMDAS before. Let's jump through what it means piece by piece. This first part is for parentheses. So you'll see it like this, or it could be shown as brackets as well, or it really could just be a group of things. Maybe it's something that's inside a group of a square root or a root of some sort. The next is exponents. So maybe you'll see it like this, or you'll see a group of things all brought to a power. It could be 2, 3, 4, whatever. The next is multiply and divide. These two go together, multiply and divide. It's kind of like one step. It's whichever comes first from left to right. And then next is our add and subtract to close it out. And again, these are one step from left to right. So here's our order of operations. Let's look at some examples. Here's the first one. We want to remind ourselves when we're doing these problems of our PEMDAS. And by the way, I say PEMDAS, not please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And my reason for that is because just like we know M and D, the multiply and divide is whatever comes first left to right, and add subtract is whatever comes first left to right. And if you see PEMDAS, it makes it, if you say please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, it sounds like my comes before dear and aunt comes before Sally, but it's not always the case. Sometimes dear comes before my if it's on the left. So you'll see that with some of these examples. So let's look at the first one. Parentheses are first. I do have a set of parentheses, so I'm going to do this part first. 5 minus 3 is 2. And then I'm going to drop everything down right underneath it. So the 40 comes down, the divide, the 4, the minus. Now that there's only one thing in that parentheses, I don't even really need it. So I can kind of just get rid of that parentheses at this point. All right, let's see. Next, we're done with parentheses. Exponents, there's none. Multiplying and dividing, I see that. Multiplying, dividing. Here's a divide problem. 40 divided by 4. 4 goes into 40 10 times. Drop stuff down. Last, obviously 10 minus 2 is left. So you've got an answer of 8. Not too bad. Let's try another one. This first one, parentheses are first. So inside the parentheses, let's see if there's anything we can simplify. So we're kind of like looking at this problem and ignoring everything else around it to start is almost the way I like to think about that, is you're just zooming in on what's inside that parentheses to start. So let's see, in here, new problem. There's no new parentheses within it. Next is exponents. Let's take care of this guy first. Drop everything down. 5 squared is 25, not 10. It's 5 times 5. All right, now inside the parentheses, we're not done with it yet. Multiplying and dividing, I see that here. 15 divided by 3. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Drop everything down. Now, still inside the parentheses, 25 minus 5, that's 20. All right, lastly, I've got 3 parentheses 20. That's the same as me saying 3 times 20. 3 times 2 is 6, add a 0, final answer is 60. All right, let's see what we've got next here. Hopefully it's starting to come back to you. This one I'd like you to give a try. So what I'd like you to do is pause your video right now, try this on your own, When you hit play again, all my work's on the screen. If you just keep watching, it's gonna pop up. Ready for it? Pause the screen. All right, final answer on that one is 6. Pause here and check your work with mine if you did not get that correct. Let's move on to our next skill. Combining like terms. So like terms are something that are the same variable and same degree. So same variable and the same degree. So variable is like the letter, right? And degree is if it has an exponent. So we can put exponent with that if you're confused at what degree means. So same variable, same exponent. So let's try to circle these and see what we got. I'm going to start in the top left here. I'm going to circle everything that is a like term to negative 8x. So I'm looking for other things that have the same variable x and also the same degree. The degree on this is the exponent. I don't see an exponent in this spot. So the exponent on this one is just 1 because it's invisible. All right, so let's see. Let me get rid of that little bit. Oops, we missed our circle. I want to circle everything that goes with this guy. So negative 8x. Here's another x, and it has an exponent of 1, so that one's good. Here's another x term, but it has a degree of not 1, so I'm not counting that. Here's another degree 2. Here's degree 1 and an x. That's not even an x. This one doesn't even have an x. No x, no x, no x, no x. Okay, all of those we just circled are like terms. Let's try another one. Let's start here. Here's all the x squared terms. So other x squared terms I see, there's one here. And I don't see any more x squared terms. Let's try another guy. How about this 11r? Are there any other r terms? Here there's a 3r. That'll go with it. All right, let's keep it moving here. We'll do orange next. How about negative 5? Are there any terms that, well, hang on a minute. This one doesn't even have a variable. It's just a number. There is other things that have just a number. It's a negative 9. These obviously would be like terms because you can combine numbers, right? So just plain old numbers, integers, rational numbers, whatever, those can get combined as well. And then there's left over here, there's an x cubed term and a negative x to the 4th. Those are the only ones of their kind, and they're kind of all on their own. So I guess I can make this one be special purple, and this one we can be special and do black. So those ones don't have any like terms. So something I want you to notice here is that sometimes there's some confusion with exponents and coefficients. So you'll notice, for example, between this one and this one, they are different colors. They're not like terms. Even though there's a 3 and a 3, one of them was the degree and one was the coefficient. This one was the coefficient out front. Tells you how many of those x squareds you have. This one was a degree. So these numbers have to match, and because they didn't, those weren't the same color, they weren't like terms. So these ones are not like terms. All right, let's check out some examples. So I'd like to combine some like terms here. Let's see if we can sort some things out and organize our life. So the first term I see is an n. The next term I see is a negative 10. That's definitely not a like term with n, doesn't have another n with it. The next term I see is a positive 9n. That is a like term, has an n, has a degree 1. Those two should go together. Maybe I'll get a different color. If you don't have two different colors, then you could do underlining for the other one. So I'll do that. I have a negative 10, or you could box it even. I'll box it. This one's a negative 10, and this one's a negative 3. Those go together, they're just plain numbers, so that's good. Now I can combine each of these things separately. So I've got n and 9n. That's a combination of 10n. And then I've got negative 10, and get that same color. I've got negative 10 and negative 3. That's negative 10 minus 3. That's negative 13, so minus 13. Now notice I'm done here because these are not like terms. They don't have the same variable on them. Matter of fact, the 13 doesn't have a variable. So don't try to subtract or do anything else here. This is our final answer. Let's try another one here. Notice this one looks different because there's a parentheses. Before we can do anything else, let's take care of that parentheses. And what I want to do first is notice that there's this 3 out front. Let's distribute the 3. You'll see your little arrows, the firework distributing inside. So let's distribute that out. We'll do 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times 7n is 21n. Don't forget to put the n on it. Let's drop down everything below it. So I'm going to drop down my plus sign, my negative 5n, and now I'm in a good spot to combine like terms. I see I've got 2 terms that have n's in them. So I'm going to combine this negative 5n and this positive 21n together. So that's 21 minus 5 is 16. So I've got 16n, and the 18 is just kind of chilling all by itself. It's just going to drop down. So final answer there, 16n plus 18. All right, I think it's time for you to try one. Here's one for you to try. Go ahead and pause your video right here and see how this one goes. When you hit play again, you'll see all my work. All right, here's what I've got for a final answer. I've got 55 minus 45n. Check out my work, see if you made any mistakes, if you can fix it. Let's see what's next. Last, we're going to look at tables and equations. So I've got a couple equations here and then tables that we're going to fill in. This is going to help you out for an assignment that you have today. There's some problems where you match you match tables and equations to each other. So this will help us out for that. Let's try it out. Here's my game plan for this problem is I want to fill in some things for the x so I can plug them in, and then I'll figure out what y is to go with it. So let's just pick some numbers for x. Maybe we'll pick some nice ones like 0, 1, 2, 3. We'll do that for each of these. All right, so if I plug in a 0, if I put in a 0, I've got 2 times 0 plus 5. So I'm setting that 0 in the x spot. This is saying x is 0. So in this case, I've got 2 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is just 5. The next time I do it, I'm going to plug in, instead of a 0, I'm going to plug in a 1. So if I plug in a 1, I've got 2 times 1 plus 5. That's a PEMDAS problem, like we did earlier. So parentheses, we need to take care of first. That's with the multiply and divide. This is really 2 times 1, so that's 2 plus 5 is 7. All right, so we plugged in a 0, we plugged in a 1. Let's plug in a 2. So instead of a 1, let's plug in a 2. Now we've got 2 times 2 plus 5. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. Do you see a pattern here? 5, 7, 9. Could we maybe just fill this in? I think it should be 11 because it was going up 2 each time. That's because of the slope. It really is going up 2 each time. So this one should be 11. Let's check it to make sure. We plug in a 3. I've got 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 5 more is 11, so that checks out. So here's a table and an equation that go together. Let's check out our next one here. We're going to plug in these same numbers, but for a different equation. Here it is, x squared minus 6. If I plug in a 0, I've got 0 squared minus 6. 0 squared is just 0, so that should just be negative 6. Next, I'll plug in a 1. 1 squared minus 6. 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is just 1. So we've got 1 minus 6 is negative 5. Let's try the next one. If I plug in a 2, 2 squared is 4, 2 times 2. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. I don't see a pattern. Let's try the next one. 3 squared minus 6. 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. Notice this one didn't have the same kind of pattern. This one went up 2 each time, and this one did not. Reason why is this one had a slope, really. It was a constant rate of change. This one did not. It's a different type of equation we're going to learn a lot more about. Let's try another one here. Oh, All right, so there's our tables and equations. Let's look back and see what our lesson plans looked like in the beginning. Make sure we got everything down. So we did notes on order of operations, combining like terms, and tables and graphs. Next, I want to look at logging into the textbook so you can do your homework assignment. So to do that, you need to go back to our main web page, So to do that, you need to go back to our main web page, bit.ly/Mrs. Traver. Let's check it out. Here's that main web page. So for geometry students, what I want you to do is go to resources at the top and then hit CPM textbook. All right, so to get to that textbook, we're going to go to resources first at the top. And then right here, the first resource is the CPM textbook. When this opens, don't type anything in, just hit sign in with Google. I have a test student account I'll use. So when you click that, all right, let's get to that let's get to that textbook. So on the main page, you're going to go to resources at the top. And from here, go ahead and open CPM textbook. It'll prompt you to log in. Choose sign in with Google. And then, I'm not going to do it here because mine looks different than yours. You'll be prompted to put in a code though. So when you're ready for that code, here it is. So go ahead and pause the video right now. Go ahead and put the code in, get on your textbook. We'll look at it in a minute together here. All right, when you get to your textbook for the first time, this is what you'll see. And we want to look at doing our assignment for today. So our assignment today, we want to look at doing, so when you get to your textbook for the first time, you'll see this. You want to get to your assignment for today, so let's check on what that is and jot it down. So when you get to your textbook for the first time, this is what you'll see. We want to do our assignment today, which is under 111. You'll go to chapter 1, 111. There's a lesson with an activity that we didn't do today. You can scroll down to get to the assignment. It's always going to note review and preview to start. So scroll down to that bit. That's where your assignment begins. Let's double check on what problems we need to do from our lesson plans. It says we're going to be doing numbers 3, 4A, 4B, 5, 6A, 6B, and 7. So I cut some out and the list looks kind of weird. Other days it'll be a little bit more straightforward like tomorrow, but for today we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. So the first one we'll do is number 3, for example, which is this top one. Scroll through these and try them out. Use the homework help link whenever you need to. That'll give you some ideas on if you're stuck. It's really helpful, honestly. So if you click it, it opens a new tab and it tells you some things about the problem. I'd like you to do this on lined paper and then submit it with that homework submission link. So again, that is right here underneath the homework assignment. You'll hit the submission link and you need to upload pictures of your homework in order to turn it in. That's how we're going to do things. If you have questions on that part of it, watch out for my video on how to do it from your phone because that'll help you out a little bit. Alright guys, I think we are all set for today. I hope you had a good day and you are rolling with your virtual learning. I will see you tomorrow. Bye!